Recording's going. Starting recording has started. Good. I'll pull up the. Go ahead and share my screen now. It's up here. Take a few seconds to get this up here. Make sure this is the. Make sure I get the presentation up. This is it. Click on this here. Share the window. There. All right. So this is Jeff Allen here. I'm actually finally doing a recording of this presentation that I gave at the University of Strasbourg at the Strasbourg Symposium 2025 in Usability Design on 25th of April. In 2025, there was not a recording done of it. So I'm finally doing it because I've been requesting a few times from colleagues to have this. And actually some of the people at the symposium as well, because there was only 30 minutes and there was more to do than the 30-minute talk. So I'm doing a recorded version. The talk title is called Opportunities, Challenges, Obstacles, Pitfalls, and Achievements in Implementing Accessibility in Projects and Products. I prefer SAP France, mainly on language and speech technology and other topics as well. And I'm coming from perspective of where these different projects, I'm giving a number of examples. I think it's 8 examples going back 30 years, not just at SAP, but in general. And what were the challenges and opportunities that we see and what pitfalls you run into, and what are the obstacles you get, especially within the user assistance area, user experience and translation. So technical writing, documentation, translation. There are many more I could do, but I want to kind of focus on this one for an accessibility, right? So, so the first one I want to talk about is a fellowship. That basically loan. I was loaned. There was a loan of me for 6 months to go over to another user assistance or technical documentation team for doing kind of conversational user interface for multimodal content back in 2018. And what was about is to revamp the scripts for video voiceovers, because a lot of these technical writers, they would be writing the scripts for new releases, what's new in the product. And so we have to give the script, you have to give the script to a voiceover artist. And I was one of the voiceover artists, and I finally came over to a fellowship to help rewrite the scripts, right? Why? Was to improve the written scripts to be conversational, because in a video, it needs to be more conversational. It needs to be in a written, when you're reading a text, right? Reading a text with your eyes. Here you have to listen to the video because the voiceover is made to be for a video. So it needs more conversational sounding. So we're going to rework these scripts. It wants to provide multimodal content, which can be video, audio, and text, images, and all that. It's easy to pronounce, to be a conversational, easier to understand. And the fellowship was in 2018, after I had been the voice for about 80 product videos over a period of several years, from 2014 to 2018. So I did about 80 of them, different versions of products and all that. And this was in the SAP office, France office, before COVID. And who I was working with, I was working with 10 different user assistance authors that were moving over to doing video content, not just writing content, but video content as well. In one corporate division, a total of 1,000 internal user assistance colleagues. User assistance means technical writers or content creators or whatever. And for about 2,000 software products, more than 2,000 software products in 30 or more industry sectors at SAP. Now, how do we do this? I made a kind of weekly deliverables of script revision projects, where I was kind of analyzing the scripts that we had already used and used for previous voiceovers and analyzing and looking at them and kind of work with the colleagues to how could we revise them in workshop kind of format. And we gave a workshop after the first month, and then we continued on with that. And then that took me, how much time? It took about 6 months of my time, full time on a fellowship. This is a kind of loan. I was lent over to the other team, kind of helped them work on that. And we had some pretty good things. So I'm going to go over here. What the opportunity of this was, we could combine user assistance and user experience. We could meet the new annual goal of the team this team to have conversational UI. So that was a great opportunity. We could enable the team to upskill themselves for video production goal, because they were making videos as well as having texts. And that included these voiceovers, right? The video includes the voiceovers. You have to work through the text to get to the voiceover to put in the video. We want to accelerate the voiceover step with better pronounceable scripts, because we noticed that it slowed the voiceover artist down if it was difficult to pronounce. And the challenges of this was that we had to shift from the mindset from a written text for reading purposes to scripts for voiceovers and videos, which are listened to by the customer, right? The obstacles that we ran into, we had to add another upstream step in the workflow to be able to make it better pronounceable text or scripts. The pitfalls, didn't really have any pitfalls in this. Worked out pretty well. And the achievements we came up, we decided to speak. I had them speak the scripts out loud and modify the scripts before sending it to the voiceover artist. So that was a way to get me out of the loop, was to have the actual user assistant developers pronounce it for themselves or with a colleague or something, and then do that, make those changes before they send it to, because you can hear these things. You can hear that the script is difficult to pronounce when you're trying to pronounce, right? And so do that before you give it to the voiceover artist, because the voiceover is going to struggle with it if it's hard to pronounce. And it converted my fellowship experience of 6 months of the loan into a new role in a new service, which I'll mention in a couple of minutes. And then there was an interview by the fellowship program. It's a program at SAP that allows people to be lent over for 3 or 6 months to work on something new. You learn a new kind of trade, learn kind of new job, or to deep dive in something. I was deep diving, and there was success in the project, the program. We had a successful project. We got an interview in the program. Project 2 was the video replay subtitle editing service, which was the result of the first one I just mentioned. So what was it? The post editing. Well, this I actually did this as another kind of branch after this, coming from this. It wasn't a direct thing from the previous fellowship, but it resulted from it because I was working the videos, or working the system, the platform, the videos, all that. So what was about? It was about post editing. Post editing is changing the text of automatically generated subtitles or captions of replay videos. So I'll just call them subtitles, right? I'm not going to get into the difference of that right here. Not the purpose here. So replay videos of, it could be anything. It could be, you may tend to be kind of big meetings and all that kind of stuff. Important meetings, not team meetings, right? But it could be done for that. But that we could say we'd use AI for ChatGPT to help you do that, right? If you get a transcript. But at that point in time, back in 2018, we had to have this video replay post editing service for the automatic generated subtitles. Why was this? Because the communication leads of the different board areas, I'm talking board areas at the top level, right, at SAP, the board levels and divisions, okay, let's call them divisions, that they can spend budget to provide the subtitles for accessibility for the hearing impaired and non-native speakers. So they got some money at the top level, right, to be these meetings, to call them town hall meetings, all hands meetings, whatever, of that entire division, right? So thousands of employees are going to attend this. And when people are in the room, there could be a TV right there dedicated for those hard of hearing, hearing impaired folks or colleagues, or the subtitles that are actually presented online, which are done in parallel with a person, but actually afterwards you have the video, right? And the thing was to change it in the video recording. When this took place is from 2018 to 2022, this service. It's come back again afterwards, back in 2024, I think it came back, where this was virtual for all corporate divisions of SAP, who were the people involved with the global communication leads and the board comm leads with me. How do we do it? We basically have these all hands or town hall meetings or all employee meetings, what do you want to call them, or annual kickoff meetings or quarterly results meetings or annual results meetings or open Q&A sessions or at the global level, the board level, and high division levels, okay? So a lot of these meetings are a lot of people and they want to provide to make sure that everyone got the content quite well. And again, the two kind of groups that I was focusing on were the needs were hearing impaired and also or hard of hearing colleagues and also non-native speakers. Non-native speakers aren't going to get that as much. The goal was to provide a high quality of this post-editing versus the poorer quality. There's a much more poor quality of the live real-time subtitles that would be done by an external vendor. That was a problem. It was about 50%. It wasn't great because the external vendor doesn't know the org names, doesn't know the division names, don't know the names of the people. I have access to all this, right? So afterwards, I can actually work with all this information I've got to improve the subtitles and names of people, products, and all this stuff. How was it done? Word of mouth marketing based on excellent feedback for the higher quality of the subtitle content. The hearing impaired loved it. They would want to listen. They want to wait the extra 12 to 24 hours for the better replay with the high quality subtitles versus the online version with kind of substandard, because the external vendor doesn't know a lot of this, all of the information about the company and things, right? Even the ones that have been around for a long time working them, because there are 2,000 products in the company, right? I created a self-service quote system, so that worked out really well. So I didn't have to be involved in the quoting to give the price or the cost for this. And how much it cost, I'm just going to say that the internal cost of the replay subtitle post-editing, I set it at an equivalent cost to the external vendor for live subtitles. So it put it at the same cost. And so they were able to budget that in, and self-service quote. And it was easy with self-service quote. Is a 15-minute meeting, a 30-minute meeting, a 45-minute meeting, a 60-minute meeting, a 75-minute meeting, a 90-minute meeting. This self-service quote is easy to figure out. So, and it generated this internal service pilot, which continued for a long period of time, but it was a pilot to start with. It generated 15 full days of internally invoiced work over a period of 4 to 6 months, which we were able to justify and keep going. I created a business plan, business case and a plan to minimally triple the volume for the following years based on the Q4 results of what we had done. And I had done I think I started this in the mid-year, so if I recall. So what were the opportunities and all these things and obstacles? It was a new service, high quality content, and it meets accessibility needs for the two groups, right? Hard of hearing and non-native speakers, and high visibility, because these are all these town hall meetings or employee meetings or division level and global, right? The company has 100,000 employees, so that was really visible. And each division had, I'll say 5, 10, 10,000 people on the meeting, right? Challenges. It was very difficult to convince other colleagues to volunteer for this new service due to the project time constraints, because it had to be done really quickly, right? It had to do it within a 12-hour period of time for the comm lead to be able to say the replay is available, right? So that was that's a difficult thing. And this was a volunteer service. I was the only person dedicated to this. It was a victim of its own success. It read really well, but it was too good. We had to stop the service because there was no replacement, and we decided that the problem that we ran into is that this wasn't really our core business, right? It should have been done by someone else, but whoever there would have been interested, but no one really took it on. It took it on, made it happen, right? But again, victim of its own success, couldn't replace me, and I had to go on and do other things. So, but it came back again years later. So we had to cancel the service after 1 year due to the resource constraints and the annual goals. And this happens, right? You got to prioritize. This happens. So, and Then I had to go through the the same service came back 4 years later, and we had to have a mandatory compliance requirement. So all external videos had to go through this post editing of the title, the subtitles, and so I didn't do that because of other things I ran into, and we had to there was significantly reduce the service that was implemented. So that happened. These are some obstacles, right? Pitfalls. It's really important to avoid creating a critical service on accessibility without a scalable plan and approval, right? And budget for it, right? So we created this, it happened, it grew into the goals, but then after we had to do other things, right? And you can't always have the employee working on that. They had other things to do. So especially when this wasn't really the core business of my department, right? So project 2, again, achievements. We reduced the post-editing production time of each of the subtitles down from 4 to 5 times of audio a minute down to 2.5 to 3 times the audio a minute. So we had a significant reduction in time, which is a really boost. It's even better now. With the newer system. And again, we had 15 full-time equivalent invoice days based on a 22-day work month over 46 months, and that continues to be able to do it up to a year. Created a new, highly visible service to meet concrete needs of 80% of the global employees, right? I'm talking all the non-native speakers and the hard of hearing. So this is pretty important. Created a gold mine because what happened was I created a multi-version authoring memory of 7,000 minutes of post-edited subtitles. And I had the raw version, I had the intermediate edited version, I had the fully edited version of each one of these, right? And I had them both in a timestamp caption format, if segments, timestamps, and I had a transcript format too. So I had both, just full text. So I had both. It was very good. Came up with productivity measurements, time, word count, character count for 130 hours of video content. So this is a gold mine, right? A great data that I've been able to reuse for other colleagues and other teams and other projects too, because this is great to be able to show this. And made annotated metadata summaries of each video. So I would say in this video, we had 2 speakers, one's a native German and one's a native English speaker, man and woman. And I was able to give metadata of each video and there were 2 different speakers on this topic and so I was able to give some information, some metadata. So it's pretty good to have annotate the videos with that. That helps to qualify some certain things when you're looking at each kind of, here it's called a video, but I call it a kind of content repository. And I was able to write up a reproducible business plan. So that's very good. And we created I created a quality style guide for minimal or rapid post editing and monolingual automatically generated subtitles. So that's really good and that's reusable. So project 3. Phonetic customization of speech to text. So what is this about? It's phonetic customization of the speech to text module. I'm going to call this SAPTube. It's SAP Media shares the brand name, but I'll call it SAPTube for everyone to understand. So it's our internal platform for videos. It has captions, all this. So it has speech to text module, create the subtitles, right? And on SAP specific vocabulary, corporate vocabulary or jargon or terminology. So why was this important? Is because I wanted to improve the accuracy of the automatically generated subtitles by the system, the video platform, right? Especially for corporate specific vocabulary, which gets kind of tricky because we have these examples. I'm not going to go through it, but there are specific examples where the writing of it it's not intuitive for the system to actually know, and it's not going to know. It creates glitches. When we did it in 2 different waves. In January of 2020, we thought I had about 1,000 characters of a dictionary to create. It's about 150 named entities. Let's call them words, technical terms, whatever. So basically words, and these words in technical terms, right? So a product name or a project name or something, right? Or an acquisition. a company, an M&A acquisition, the company name and all that. The second wave was in March 2020. We realized we had 3,000 characters, so I was able to increase that, the coverage. And so that basically gave me about 450 to 500 named entities, these words, right? Out of a 4,000 character limit. So we had some buffer. I didn't want to take up everything. So I created a dictionary to improve this processing. I created a dictionary so we could put it up into the system use it to actually create better subtitles with the speech to text analyzer on SAP vocabulary, right? Where it was on the virtual video content platform called SAP2, but it's SAP Media Share for 100,000 internal employees in 100 countries, more than 100 countries. How done was the caption. There's a caption or subtitle editing feature in SAP2, but I'll call it SAP2, right? But it's SAP Media Share. Me and the SAP2 doing the human-computer interaction with the editing feature. And how much? Back then in 2020, there were 35,000 videos uploaded to SAP2. There in 2024, 60,000, so it's nearly doubled. So all videos that are uploaded to this internal, all videos that are uploaded by all employees and all contractors to this internal video platform, the default is English, right? Now, you can manually override that and change it to another language, but they all get subtitles to start with, and they're assigned English as the default. Project 3, opportunities. I worked for myself and potentially others. I worked myself out of the job of caption post editing job by improving the system. Right. The challenge is no challenge, real obstacle, pitfalls. Achievements. We got 82% recognition improvement for speech to text for 500 corporate specific named entities. Technical terms, basically. And again, these are product names, project names, acquisition names, acronyms, and all this. 82% recognition improvement. Now, there are different levels. I'm not going to do the details of these different levels of improvement, but that's pretty good on these 500 technical terms. One patentable idea. So, so project 4. The FedEx custom is just the opposite now. I'm going to text to speech for institution-specific vocabulary. So the previous one was speech to text. Now it's text to speech. So what is about the phonetic customization for institution vocabulary? So SAP here of Synthesia, which is a licensed product. It's a text-to-speech app of Camtasia by TechSmith that they separated the Camtasia product. They took this text-to-speech module out and created another product out of it, basically. It was in Camtasia before. Now it's called Synthesia. This is to produce videos from written scripts with or without avatars, talking heads, okay? Why? Because in creating the corporate videos, which could be e-learning, how-to videos, what's new for release, etc., and to update it's important to update the videos without having to redo the voice, right? And the visual differences of a speaker. I mean, it's possible to do a video at one point in time, and you're dressed one way here, and then I come in the other day and I got a different shirt, right? So that doesn't quite work out well, and it kind of looks weird. I have seen this before and doing other videos for music stores too, and the voice too. Your voice differences. If you eat, don't eat. If you eat something, drink something, it's going to change your voice. And time of day, right? In the morning, you might have a different voice than in the afternoon. So, if you're tired and all that. So, here are these. It was to create the corporate videos and update them more easily by using a text-to-speech avatar speaker rather than use a voiceover artist to do this. But to create, I'm going to go into here, is to create a phonetic customization, this on corporate vocabulary for SAP, right? When I was in Q1 2024, it was virtual. It was me and my devices and using the Synthesia to do the human-computer interaction. there were basically three phases. One was to collect all the previous institution vocabulary and jargon data mining term extraction results, which I had already worked on before, and I gave the previous project one, but there are other ones too. Then I created a candidate dictionary with some phonetic mapping of the named entities. These could be acronyms, project, product, feature names, soft release numbers, isolated punctuation, and punctuation embedded in vocabulary. Then I created a phonetic customization style guide to avoid creating the dictionary. I ended up creating a style guide, which got rid of the need for a dictionary because we didn't have to get all these entries. How much cost? Actually, it took me about a month, a few weeks. So it wasn't really that long because I'd already done all this, right, in previous projects. Opportunities. It was to increase the text-to-speech recognition of institution, corporate-specific vocabulary, jargon, terminology. It accelerates the production of videos and significantly improves the turnaround time of the updates, right? And the quality of them too. The challenges are expectations of colleagues or managers of the need of an exhaustive dictionary. I mean, you have to negotiate all this. The obstacles, pitfalls, didn't really have any of those things. It's just it was a new project, and now we have less people doing the voiceovers because more people are using this whole text to speech process right here. And we've actually put into another kind of offer service too, and made it possible for all colleagues to use this. The achievements: remove the need for a mapping dictionary, and I created two-page style guide, a bullet list of items in 5 categories of what to follow to be able to adapt the writing of the script so that it's machine readable, right, rather than human readable. So that's because text to speech. One patent idea would be ideal, possible idea to write a patent on, and a current follow-up project to turn I've got kind of when I want to turn all phonetic customization tips into a style guide into a series of videos of how to do this, right? And all updates to the style guide and the company video can be done even if I lose my voice 2 times a year, right? Can I get laryngitis? I just have to change the text, right? And I update the script, and I don't have to redo I have to come back and do the whole thing again, right? So, which has been when I was in the voiceover service, you have to come back and do the thing over again. This removes all this. So AI can be very helpful, especially when you lose your voice. Project 5, sign languages in Zoom and Microsoft Teams. The sign language window in Microsoft Teams and Zoom. Now, why? Because they're automatic transcriptions. Sometimes they come out, they're not really subtitles, right? Or it's a transcription because they're kind of a panel on the side where it comes out, right? So it's called automatic transcriptions that are released in Microsoft Teams and Zoom. Started in 2020 during COVID, and it led to adapting Microsoft Teams and Zoom with a video tile for sign language. So you can kind of see that that's come about. You can focus on the person doing the sign language now too. Kind of you can highlight that window, right, or the person, right. Was in 2020 and onward, where we had corporate licenses of Microsoft Teams and Zoom at my company, and who the accessibility advocates worldwide, some of the IT colleagues we've been involved in this, and how we made many iterations with the IT contacts to get a sign language window, and then primary and secondary focus of the windows of the people that are doing sign language, and then customized layout for a user. So the users can now actually say if they want to have that person highlighted or not. So that's kind of where this customization came through Teams and through Zoom. How much? Many months of waiting. It was very slow, but we're seeing a little more features coming out now too in Teams and Zoom over time. So opportunities we rode the wave during COVID-19. I mean, this was to get new accessibility features. It was the opportunity to actually get these features implemented. So it was really an opportunity. Challenges, the technical issues at the beginning until the personalization was easy to implement. We had to wait a lot, and we had to kind of tweak it and work with things, but they had some technical issues to make that possible on the different companies that provide these products. Obstacles, pitfalls, not really any, other than the normal. And achievements, we finally are working and always can be improved. And I can see now, even today, I saw something that even in 2025, I see some things that are being improved for some of these different, for sign language, basically. Project 6, VPAT testing. So VPAT, what is it? It's the Voluntary Product Accessibility Template. We had VPAT testing for 5 financial software products of companies that are required by SAP, and I was the validation project manager, validation lead for these 5 products, and for all the different types of validation. One of the VPAT testing was one of them. Why is this necessary? Because all software products that are sold by SAP must go through 8 different types of validation testing conducted by users that are outside of the R&D product teams, including accessibility testing to be compliant with digital accessibility standards. When did this happen? This was in late 2008 and early 2009. In France, and virtually too, because I was working teams elsewhere too, but we had a lot of people who were doing it here. We had 5 software product teams that had been acquired by SAP the previous year, and I was the validation project lead. How did we do this? We found internal validation experts to cover each type of validation testing type. And how much, nothing really to say about that, but opportunities was easy to justify, and the budget it's a compliance need for corporate requirements. So anytime you start waving compliance around, it works, and the corporate requirements, right? The things you cannot avoid. So it was a great opportunity. And to get some budget for it. Challenges, obstacles, really nothing there, no pitfalls, but the achievements, we had all 5 products pass the VPAT testing, I can say that. And so much for that. So project 7, keep going here. I've got lots of these examples. Speech-to-speech project, a speech-to-speech translation in the Diplomat project. What was it? It was speech-to-speech translation for disaster relief and disaster recovery, and for humanitarian aid situations. Why? Because there are natural disasters such as hurricanes, tornadoes, tsunamis, flash flooding, volcanoes, and war contexts that create situations where multilingual communication is essential for locating the survivors, or crowd control, or critical healthcare, or food distribution. When did this happen? In the mid-1990s. Where was it? It was the Diplomat project at the Language Technologies Institute at Carnegie Mellon University. Who was involved? It was me as the lead of the LTI, Language Technology Institute. I was the lead of for the linguist of the research linguist for the project at Carnegie Mellon University, and I was collaborating with a number of native speaking colleagues per language. We had worked in 5 different languages to create the language resource databases for speech system transition system. We're doing Haitian Creole, Serbo Croatian, Bosnian, Korean. We did French and Spanish, and we were starting to do Arabic. Those are all we worked on. I say Haitian Creole. And then how there are a dozen publications about the project, so it's up on my LinkedIn profile. In the publication session, there's a whole section of my bibliography with all my references, and there are a dozen publications that talk more of the details of this thing. So, and up in my YouTube channel, there are lots of videos I talk about the Diplomat project as well. How much it cost? So basically, we were the time frame that it took to build a speech-to-speech translation system for these needs here. We could do it in 1 to 2 days for English and Spanish, or English French, with existing data and resources that are pretty major languages. It took 4 months to do Korean. It took 1 year for Serbian, Bosnian Croatian, and it took 2 years for Haitian Creole. So it gives the idea of the amount of time necessary for low resource languages. Opportunities. We created software in rapid deployment mode for low data or low resource languages that never have funding. We had funding for this, and we were able to do it. The challenges to find and qualify employable native speakers living locally in the United States, in a town, in a big city, that speak that language. They're native speakers of that language, right? Finding them for speech data collection as well. Those that can work with the team, and then those can do the speech collection, because you have to have a lot of speech collection to have a robust system. Developing a pure speech-enabled translation software for to challenge for non-literate ethnic groups, non-literate, right? It's important to build and keep trust with ethnic groups. I want to emphasize that because that's a key challenge. If you can build up trust, took me 2-3 decades to do it. You can lose it one day if you do something wrong. So, and there were some challenges of dealing with some language like Haitian Creole that had more than 10 known different spelling systems or orthographies for one language, right? Obstacles of finding the literate native speaker participants, available language data that misses accent marks due to kind of the pre-Unicode era. So a lot of texts they'd stripped out the accent marks and we had to put them back in. So that's a big challenge, obstacle. Pitfalls. Creating low data language databases based on major international language assumptions. This creates many errors. So I've made some videos up on YouTube about this a little bit more, but you know, if you take the same process, the way you do it, that we do it for these other, let's say 30 major languages of the world, and try to do this to this 7,000 languages that are out that are low low resource data or low data languages, it doesn't quite always work. So I just was on a master's thesis committee a couple of weeks ago on a low resource language, same kind of thing, just on another language, same kind of situation. So achievements. We're able to produce many innovative processes and features for low resource languages, and we describe those in a dozen publications. We were able to elevate the social status of a stigmatized non-language. Let's call it, people sometimes the non-language. We were able to elevate it to become a language in the social sense. Now I'm saying it's always been a language. It's just that in the social status to become a language or be recognized as a language via the presence of the language in the software app. That changes everything. Putting language in a software app is going to change it. If you put everything in Facebook, if you put these languages and put them as the menus and stuff, and even in Microsoft, you're in Microsoft PowerPoint, Microsoft Word, you put all the menu items are in the given language, the lower research language, people are going to use it, right? So same thing with navigators, web browser, all that stuff. So Project 8, a corporate new authoring and translation project. I'm going through a bunch of examples here. So it was a new authoring and a computer-assisted multilingual translation project. Why? Because 50% of the sales of all machines that cost a minimum $1 million at that point in time, we'll talk about here, are sold to international buyers. And for the European Union, each machine, this large machine, must be accompanied with a user manual, a repair service manual in the language of the machine is delivered or sent to. It was in the 1990s. It was in Central Illinois, the United States. There were 150 authors and editors on site on the main floor. And there were 15 internal translators and translation editors, plus 10 freelancers, translators that were, or editors that were at smaller translation agents that worked with the company. And it's one of the leading heavy machinery and mining equipment manufacturers. So, if you go to my LinkedIn profile, you know where I work. How much? It cost $20 million in the 1980s, 1990s. That was what it ended up costing. It was supposed to cost more, but you have to prioritize things, do what you can do. It was a painful deployment of controlled language authoring to completely rewrite legacy content of the user manuals, service manuals that were these manuals were being produced at a rate of 800 pages a day in English and translated to 16 languages at that point in time. So the opportunities that came through, challenges, I mean, there are lots of things to say, but I mean, there are tons of publications on this project, the Kant project and everything. So it was just a great, it was the Caterpillar MT project. It's kind of a predecessor. And that kind of, it's one of the most expensive, probably the more known projects in the machine translation or automatic translation kind of and control language thing. It's always cited. Other kind of companies came about behind later, and General Motors did it, and some other companies did it, and Symantec did it as well for the antiviruses. But it was probably the most visible project in this kind of this whole thing, as made for non-native speakers, right? So again, it's not always accessibility is not always about hard of hearing, those are vision impaired. It's about non-native speakers too, and that's usually the large, the kind of the majority of people. Takeaways. You want to reverse the curb cut effect to fund your accessibility projects by piggybacking off of larger accessibility need. That means you don't want to focus on the small need of saying this is for vision impaired, or this is visually impaired, or this is for hearing impaired people. You want to say the non-native speaker community is way bigger, way larger, and you want to be able to do this for them. And everybody else can benefit from this, right? The other smaller groups can benefit from it. If you focus too much, I found, on just saying this is for the vision impaired or the hearing impaired, it depends who's listening, right? But if you say it's for 80% of the company, that makes a difference. You want to find ways to highlight and show value to the funders and the management who do not know the details of what you do. It's always a struggle. And you want to measure everything you can, because 99% of leadership talks about and expects performance results as KPIs. So you want to have something measurable. And you want to practice your pitch every day in your institution, what you do, the service it provides, and the value it brings. So that's very important. Other takeaways are compliance requirements and regulation-driven industries can help or even hurt your project. So you want to keep that in mind. Never assume, number 6, never assume that minority low data language projects can be done in similar ways to major international languages. And here's my contact info at SAP. And I'm also on the board of the Linguistics Foundation of the Linguists. So thank you for listening. I'll go ahead and stop sharing and then close stuff. So thanks for taking the time to listen to this. And thanks for your attention. And hopefully this will give you some ideas of accessibility in a general sense, right? There's usually accessibility, like I said, is usually done for specific impairments. But if you say it's non-native speakers, it works out really well, and you can get more funding than you expected, and then everyone can benefit from it. So thanks for your time.